and welcome to the Daily Voice, presented by VNN, bringing you today's top 5 Canadian news stories on March 12, 2025. Let's get started. The Bank of Canada has officially lowered its key interest rate to 2.75%, citing the growing impact of the U.S. trade war on Canada's economy. Governor Tiff Macklem made the announcement earlier today, stating that while Canada started the year strong, ongoing tariffs and economic uncertainty are forcing businesses and consumers to scale back spending. The Bank of Canada's move is aimed at stimulating the economy, but experts warn that it may not be enough to counteract rising inflation due to higher import costs from the U.S. tariffs. With steel, aluminum, and key goods facing trade restrictions, how will Canada respond? Just hours after announcing plans to double tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum to 50%, U.S. President Donald Trump has reversed course, deciding to maintain the existing 25% tariffs instead. The decision comes after Ontario Premier Doug Ford suspended plans to impose a 25% surcharge on electricity exports to the U.S., a retaliatory move against Trump's aggressive trade policies. Despite avoiding a full-scale escalation, tensions remain high. Trump continues to pressure Canada on trade and has even suggested that Canada should become the 51st U.S. state, a statement that has sparked backlash across the country. The Canadian government is hitting back at the U.S., announcing $29.8 billion in retaliatory tariffs on American imports. Starting at midnight on Thursday, Canada will impose 25% tariffs on steel, aluminum, and other U.S. products, including computers, sports equipment, and cast iron materials. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc stated that Canada had no choice but to respond to Trump's tariffs, warning that these trade restrictions hurt both economies. As Canada and the U.S. remain locked in this economic standoff, business leaders on both sides are calling for a resolution before the damage becomes irreversible. A Toronto fraudster has been sentenced to 5 years in a U.S. prison after being convicted in a $21 million diamond investment scam that defrauded nearly 200 victims across North America. Michael Schumack, co-founder of Paragon International Wealth Management Inc., ran a scheme that misled investors into thinking they were buying high-value colored diamonds, only for their money to disappear into fraudulent accounts. U.S. authorities took over the prosecution after discovering that most of the victims were American, leading to a tough sentence despite Schumack's pleas for leniency. A new energy alliance is forming as Eastern and Western Canada come together to push for increased pipeline infrastructure amid the U.S.-Canada trade war. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston and Alberta Premier Danielle Smith are leading the charge, arguing that Canada needs to reduce its dependence on U.S. energy imports. With Trump's tariffs disrupting trade, leaders are calling for a renewed push on energy independence, reviving discussions around projects like the Energy East pipeline, previously blocked by political opposition. That's all for today's top stories. Thank you for joining us on The Daily Voice, presented by VNN. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time.